Hello and happy Tuesday. Let's make sure I'm not still sharing my screen because I might be. No, I don't think I am. All right, perfect. Somehow I got it changed over. So my name is Wendy Lee from creativelyyours.com, and I'm excited that you're joining me today for a little bit of crafty fun today. Yay! I've got a cute card for you. And you can see behind me, there's a sneak peek of the hello and happy did it again. Let's make sure I'm not still sharing my screen because I might be. Fix it. No, there, I got it. Good grief. Crazy. Oh, Gene, it's smoky in Oregon but not too hot. Do you guys have fires nearby? I don't know. Anyway, so yes, the projects behind me are a sneak peek of the card class that all of my guests at my celebration happening September 17th will get to make. So it's a free card class that I'm sending out to them. We're going to have an afternoon of crafty fun together. So it should be a good time. So today we are, let me go ahead and switch the camera over and we'll go ahead and get started on today's project and I'll tell you more about it. All right, there we go, working out. So we are going to pull in the Very Best Occasion stamp set. So this is one of the fabulous stamp sets that's in the mini catalog. And I love that it's got a wide variety and there's some good inside sentiments as well as outside sentiments. And of course you can mix and match those however you want to. But I really like this. This is bundled with a punch. I'm not using the punch today, so I didn't pull it out. But if you love a little corner punch, punches a hole, a slit, I believe, and some decorative edges, this would be a very nice one to get in a bundle and save a little bit of money. And then I'm also pulling in the Splendid Day Designer Series paper. This is also in the mini catalog. Isn't that gorgeous? I love those foils. So fun. And of course, we're going to be using the foil side, but the back sides of the papers are also very lovely. And you've got a really nice soft color palette that goes with this. So you guys know I love some designer series paper. So we're going to make this project today, and I've got two options already made, and then we'll talk about this. And I hope this doesn't mess with the camera too much. That foil really kind of shines. So this is a torn paper reveal card. It's super easy to make. So I want to kind of show this to you. So this is a simple stamping project for the most part. We did emboss the layer, but if you are not ready for embossing, you don't have to jump in and do that. But I just think it adds a really nice touch to this. So I've used a couple different embossing folders. So this one here, I used the Time Worn Type. Let me pull that one in so you can see that. So it might be easier to see it as the folder itself, but it adds a nice, great texture just all over. So you've got that one. On the second one, I used the Fern 3D, and so you can see that texture on there. And let's see if I've grabbed that folder as well. I did. Let me pull that one in. So this is the Fern 3D folder, and then you can kind of see it's this beautiful fern image right there. So I use that. For today's project, when we're making this card, I've changed the color of the foil, and then we're going to pull in the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. So let's go ahead and set these aside and get started. So of course, after the video, I will go in and add the complete supply list. So you can just click on the item and add that to your shopping cart for anything that you need to purchase. And then I will also have the cut dimensions so you can create this one on your own. Yes. Oh yeah, you guys have small wildfires, Jean, around you. I hate that. All right, so I am starting off with my thick basic white cardstock. It's 5.5 by 8.5, which is a standard letter size card. Now, I believe that I will be adding not only the US letter size, but I believe it's that, is it A4, which is the metric, which is not a straight conversion. So it is a little bit different, but I think I've got those measurements as well for you guys to share that with you. So, all right. So next I've got a piece of vellum. So I'm going to put a piece of vellum down. You guys know I love me some vellum. And I'm just going to put my adhesive right in the center of the vellum. I can always slide in some glue dots if I need to, but I want this adhesive to be hidden. So I'm putting it in the center where I'm going to have some layers cover that up. So this project is actually one that I made for an organized swap for demonstrators. One of the wonderful things that I love about being a demonstrator is being able to participate in swaps. Always fun. So what a swap is when we trade card designs. And so it gives you a lot of exciting options to learn. So now I've got my piece of foil. Gorgeous. So this one I use, it's kind of a blushing bride color. me see if I can pull that paper in again. And then this one's a Sahara sand. So you can see that on there. So we've got a fresh freesia, and you've got more of a petal pink blushing bride. I guess it's technically coral for this, but I think it looks really great with blushing bride, but petal pink works as well. And then, you know, the fresh freesia, you've got a soft sea foam, a mint, and then the Sahara. So I guess technically this one is supposed to be soft sea foam, but I think it looks very Sahara sand. So I am pulling in Sahara sand. So sorry if that metallic is driving you crazy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this up, and I'm going to be a little excessive about it. Hey, Kay, so glad you're here. Hey, Susan, glad to see you guys. Oh, good. You're watching me while at the doctor's. Oh, that's fun. Hopefully we'll pass some time away. All right, so I'm going to use some dimensionals, and I am pulling this right off the edge, and I pulled the paper, the backing paper off there so it wouldn't stick. But yes, I've clipped around the edge of this. This is a sheet that I've had that I almost used up. I think last week we almost used this up because I didn't clip this last edge here. But you guys know we want to use the entire sheet. We don't want to waste any of these fabulous dimensionals. I love them, as you know. So we don't want to waste them. So if you don't want everything to be popped up the way I'm popping it up, you do not have to, right? You guys do what makes you happy. So go ahead and get this layer off. I had two stuck together. I just pulled them in, no big deal. Putting a few more than I might on this because I've got this designer paper layer popped up. And so I think it needs a little more stability here. So I have this going the full length of the card right across there. Isn't that fun? I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, I'm going to slide this aside while we work on our torn paper reveal. All right, so there's two ways you can go about this. You can stamp your sentiment on the layer and then add the texture, or you can texture it and stamp it. Depending on the stamp you're using, you might work out better to stamp it and then add texture. But you know what? I already added texture to this one, and I'm using the painted 3D embossing folders. Isn't that fabulous? I'm going to try stamping on it after the fact. This way, my mistakes will let you see if this works or if this does not work well, right? So I have to test out the embossing folder. Sometimes it works fine, but other times it does not. So if it does not, I have a backup. So I'm going to use this Endlessly Grateful. This is the time of year to really let people know how important they are to us. Oh, actually, I think that's stamped pretty well. What do you guys think? So either way, test it definitely, because some folders do not do well with stamping on them after you've run it through. So I'm just using Sahara sand. Now on the original samples, I used Blushing Bride, so you'll see both listed in the supplies. Whoa. All right. So the cool thing about this from here is I'm going to tear this paper. So I'm just going to tear it towards me. And I'm probably 1 inch to 1.25 inches up from the bottom. And I'm going to go about that same away from the edge is where I'm going to stop. Does that make any sense? I hope so. I'm going to do the same thing at the top. It doesn't matter how wide or narrow this is. It really just depends on how much you want to show, right? All right. So now I'm going to clip away about half of that section that I just tore. I found it too bulky if you don't cut away some of that, right? So then I need to soften my paper. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to run it across that center paper. It's okay if it pulls the embossing off because I'm going to curl this. All right. So I'm going to run a little strip of adhesive right at the end of what I tore, and then I'm going to roll this. You can roll it as tight or as loose as you want to. It'll get squished a little bit when you put it in the mail, but this will go in the mail. I've mailed a couple already. I've not had any issues that I'm aware of. So you can kind of push it down if you want. So depending on which paper you use for this layer where you tear it to reveal whatever you're wanting to reveal, it's going to be bulkier or not. I used regular white cardstock because I didn't want the thick to be too bulky. Designer paper works really well. We could have put our sentiment in here, but what I wanted to reveal is this gorgeous print on this paper. Lovely. I think it's lovely. All right, so you could go ahead and adhere this flat. I actually popped it up on the designer paper on these, so I'm going to go ahead and pop it up just because, right? Why not? We can, unless I run out of dimensionals. Oh, Carmen, hey, so glad you're here today as well. So I'm actually going to put the dimensionals along my torn edge because I want to make sure that doesn't sag as I put my card together. And I just cleaned off the sheet. So let's hope I have another sheet hidden here. I do. It's a crazy one. I don't know what I've done with this one. So we'll go ahead and put some dimensionals right along that torn edge. Again, there. And, I'm just going to put one there as well. I think that should be enough. I'm going to leave them at that. One thing I found when working with these torn centers of these cards is that sometimes it doesn't keep its shape 100%. So let me show you what I mean by that. So like this kind of wants to move in and out a little bit. So I actually found that if I turned it sideways there and kind of started at the end that was a little more whole, I guess you could say, and I've got about an 1/8 inch border. And then now I can kind of come down and just take one side at a time and make sure that it's falling fairly straight or where I want it. And then same thing here. This one actually laid down pretty well, I think. And so now I'm just going to give it a little push. And so that places it right down. Isn't that pretty? I love it. I love it. I love it. Have you guys tried this before? I think it's fun. Is it Pina? Pina? Ooh, I don't know how you say your name. Pinay. Pina? Ooh, welcome. All right. New name. I'm going to grab a couple of champagne rhinestones. Now, I thought this looked really well with this color of foil. It might be a little too, if you don't like this, it might be a little too contrasting for some of you. I like it, but if you don't like it, use a different embellishment. We've got lots of different ones. I think regular rhinestones would be fabulous, but I do like the little pull of pink in there. It's kind of pretty. Okay. Let's do the card inside. So of course we want to bring the design to the inside of it possible. So let's do our stamping first. I'm going to add my sentiment. So as you can see on the inside of these, I added the sentiment, you make my life happier. So I've got that same layering of vellum going on to tie that design to the inside. Again, I'm going to stay with Sahara Sand as my ink choice. Just making this super soft. And hopefully we'll get it straight on here and hopefully we're in camera. Oh, yay, good. That was debris versus ink. I like it when it works out that way. Okay, so we're going to adhere this to our vellum sheet. So I did the layers the exact same size on the inside and the outside. We're going to go ahead and put this right down, adhere that in place. And then I can go ahead and adhere this in the card inside. I like to put my layer on top of the vellum whenever I can before I adhere the vellum down, if it makes sense, right? Doesn't always make sense to do it that way, but so just a nice, soft, subtle inside, and then that pop of color on the outside with that foil. So do you guys have a favorite of the embossing folder? So let me see if I can get them a little closer so you can see it. So here is the painted texture. I'm going to turn it so you can see it. White is hard to see, and then I've added this foil in there, right? And then here's the Fern 3D. So fun. And then the time worn type. Now, if you're not getting good depth on your 3D embossing folders when you're embossing, try spritzing the cardstock before you run it through. Give it a little bit of moisture, and it will give it a little bit, at least I find, it gives me a little bit of a deeper impression. Sometimes you can add a little shim. So the white cardboard that comes in the Designer Series paper packs works great if you need just a smidge of a shim as well. Good. You guys don't have any questions? If you have questions and I missed them, definitely leave them in the comments of the video and I will go back and answer them for you. And we will go from there. So remember, there's just one more week to qualify for my celebration. And to meet that, you've got to place $150 in orders with me between July 1st and August 31st. And it doesn't have to be one order. It can be multiple orders to get you there. And then we'll have our day of crafty fun together. All right. I also have bingo registrations, just a little stamping bingo fun that's going on now as well. But if you've got questions on anything, please let me know. All right. Thank you all and have a wonderful, wonderful week. And don't forget, if you're enjoying the content, to share this with your crafty friends, and don't forget to follow me. All right. Thank you all. Have a great